Hey, 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 it's Memorial Day. I hope Freedom Claus left a nice little gift for you under the AIM 9 mistletoe today. Boy, did he leave me a gift. We have another video of a dealership car getting wrecked. For those of you who haven't seen, I posted a video on a similar topic a few days ago about same thing, someone driving a dealership car and crashing it. So believe my surprise along with the rest of yours when I come back here with yet another dealership crash video right here on this glorious day. Pretty much the whole backstory to this is everything that you can see on screen right now. An 18-year-old went to a dealership and asked to test drive a Tesla Plaid, and you can just already see by the angle that I don't know where anyone thought this was going to get off on the right foot here. He's that far set of headlights down at the end there, with his buddy standing right here as the POV. Very obviously set up to watch him do a pull. And look at how many cars are around this guy. Why would you do this here? So for whatever reason, Goober really wanted to show off to his friends, but he didn't pass the height limit to be able to leave the lot in the car, so he had to make do with what he had in the parking lot, which, unfortunately for the guy who allowed this kid the test drive, severely underestimated how far the stupidity of teenagers has fallen in current day. The Tesla Plaid, people say, has about 1,000 horsepower, and like all EV cars, it is instant acceleration. It is one of the fastest launching cars that average consumer can get. So the fact that this kid was allowed in this car in the first place was genuinely a massive lapse of judgment. This car is way too much for someone so young. And as far as talking about how this went wrong in the first place, obviously the kid driving is just stupid. I'm not pulling any punches. That was an idiotic move. You literally have no more than a foot on either side of you because it is such a packed dealership lot. Why in the world do you want to show off to your friends so bad in a car that isn't yours, that you're test driving and obviously not going to be buying? But a fun fact about the Teslas here, and probably a big reason for why this was such a bad issue in the first place, I have not personally driven a Tesla Plaid, but a very good friend of mine and another performance driving coach who is extremely talented, and I trust his opinion almost above my own, has driven a Tesla Plaid. He's coached a client in one before, and his big takeaway was the car is ungodly fast, but the brakes are not meant for a car of that caliber. And that's honestly something that we're starting to see with these performance EV cars. The Tesla Plaid launches so insanely fast, but the brakes are that of just an average everyday car, which is honestly dangerous and should be changed. You look at Porsches, a lot of Porsches have like carbon ceramic brakes, like the 911s have very competent multi-piston brakes to slow that car down to match its performance, if not be overkill for its performance.
You could have died.
Like, you good, Joe? Like, for real?
You really could have died. Does anybody know?
Couldn't have said it better myself, and in fact it was said so well, I'll say it again. Yes, you could have died.
Oh my God.
What is this, a test drive?
Test drive? No, stupidity.
Was it a lock guy or?
I love this conversation going on in this clip. I don't know who's talking here. It sounds like these are like workers or maybe like passerbys who saw the incident. But I love the guy being like, what was it, a lot guy? Like one of the guys who works the dealership lot? It's like, no, bro, like they just let some kid drive this thing. I don't know.
I don't want you to get in trouble. And don't show too many people.
Especially that we're here.
Don't know who the weird kid is, but unfortunately for that guy, who I assume is probably the one who let this kid test drive the car, plenty of people are seeing this. Unfortunately, Buddy didn't quite get his wish there. Who would have guessed? The guys who went and crashed a Tesla Plaid don't really have respect for the opinions of other people. I don't know if it's the sign of the times, or maybe I'm just getting old and getting towards unk status, Boomerville, dropping me off in the loony bin, but it just genuinely feels like that younger people today just have such a substantially lower level of respect for anyone around them. It seems extremely common to just have this main character mentality and entirely fly off the handle, be extremely disrespectful. This 18-year-old kid was extremely lucky that this guy even allowed him to to drive this car in the parking lot, he probably was very apprehensive to do so, and then just immediately now his job is in danger, as well as $300,000 worth of damage to all the cars in this dealership because this kid just had blatantly no respect for anyone around him, and neither did his friend who was filming this. The guy set up for him to do this pull, and I'm sure voiced absolutely no concern in that being a bad idea, and just allowed Goober to go do it anyway and just wreck all this stuff.
That cable. It's a wholesale truck anyway.
It's a wholesale truck.
I can appreciate the guys making light of the situation in the background, being like, "Oh, it's fine. It's just a wholesale truck." You know, just it's a tough situation, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people there all just giving comments and being funny and whatnot. And that's pretty much where the video ends. We don't really know much more information about the story other than what this article states here, which pretty much just describes everything we've already seen. It doesn't really add anything extra other than saying the cars involved. So 2 of the main cars that received such damage, 2 of the most heavily totaled cars, were a Mercedes-AMG GLC 43 and what looks like a Volvo XC60. So very nice, expensive SUVs that were just totaled by this absolute menace, ripping it through a parking lot like it's a racetrack to show off for God knows who. But all in all, people like this suck. This kid, since he's 18, probably won't get nearly as heavily of a punishment as he probably deserves. He's probably going to get more of a slap on the wrist, maybe some insurance hits that he'll have to deal with, but he probably won't feel the repercussions of this very heavily and will just go on not learning a lesson and continuing to be an absolute menace to society. It's something we're seeing just far too much online right now, of people just thinking they can do whatever they want and honestly getting away with it because people just see them as a nuisance or a dumb kid. And this is an example that's very extreme and costs people a lot of money and maybe even someone their job. So I do hope that this kid serves a fair punishment for this, but only time will tell, I guess. If you guys find anything out, please let me know. I'm very interested to see where this goes. There's just not much information right now other than what's been posted on the reel here. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I really appreciate your support. Thanks.